This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on The South Today, a Portobello family who lost everything in a house fire is thankful to their community. 2 times World Motocross champion Courtney Duncan receives a hero's welcome. And today is White Ribbon Day, but events are scaled down this year due to COVID-19. Kia ora, good evening, I'm Daryl Baser. A Portobello family who lost nearly everything they owned in a house fire is feeling lucky after being offered a house to live in rent-free. Alice Hudson's family had to flee their burning home on Saturday after high winds whipped up flames from a neighbour's fire pit.
The Hudson family lost nearly everything when a fire ripped through their Portobello home on Saturday. But since then, local couple Martin and Annabelle Rutherford have stepped in to offer an empty house nearby for the family to stay in.
Well, we just let them stay here rent-free until the new year. I mean, that means they can enjoy Christmas without worrying about the bills and that sort of thing. So, and then come the new year, if they want to stay, then we'll work out a rent or something and go from there.
But the community has just been incredible. I'm just really blown away by the generosity from everyone. I don't even know how to thank anyone.
There's such a big list of names that we've got so many to reel off that we just want to thank everyone who's helped us.
A fire investigator says Saturday's blaze seems to have started when strong winds blew hot embers from the neighbour's fire pit into a hedge, with the fire then leaping to a shed next to the Hudson's house.
The trees were just starting to go up and I was just watching basically the embers in front of my eyes just transfer from the stone pit into the hedge with each gust of wind, and it was just spreading. I think it was 3 gusts of wind and the whole shed had gone up, and then it was full of tools and that sort of stuff, so it was just everything in it sort of started exploding.
With the house next in line, the family had very little time to get out.
Ran back round the front and screamed to the kids to get out of the house because it was just, there's only the driveway between the sheds and the house, and the flames were just massive.
Not only have the family now got a rent-free house to move into, but people have donated bikes, clothing and a car. Plus, a Give a Little page has raised over $25,000. In Portobello, The South Today.
Boxes left on top of a pizza oven are believed to have been the cause of a kitchen fire at a pizzeria earlier today. The fire broke out in the kitchen of the Pizza Bella restaurant in Mosgiel just before 9 a.m. this morning. Fire crews from Mosgiel and Lookout Point attended the incident. Fire and Emergency New Zealand say there was no one inside the building at the time of the fire. They say it appears the pizza ovens may have been left on overnight, igniting pizza boxes, leading to the fire. Police were also called to help with traffic management. It was a hero's welcome for 2 times World Motocross champion Courtney Duncan when she arrived back home last night. Duncan, who spent the last 2 weeks alone in an Auckland quarantine facility, was embraced by her family and supporters as she arrived at Dunedin's airport.
Women's World Motocross champion Courtney Duncan came out of managed isolation and flew home to be greeted by fans and family at Dunedin Airport. This is her second hero's welcome, as she received a similar one at the same airport last year when she won the title in 2019.
It's always overwhelming coming to the airport and having so many, friends and family and supporters from the city here to welcome me home. It's special.
The 24-year-old claimed the world title in Italy earlier this month, with her winning one race in a spectacular fashion after being thrown off her Kawasaki K250 motorbike at the start.
I went down on the first corner and I was in dead last, and that's just, when you put yourself in that position, it's not ideal, it's not what you want. especially when you know you need to win. So I just put my head down and charged through the pack, and definitely proud of the way I was able to come through to the lead, and even to stay composed under so much pressure. Obviously you have the championship on your mind, and just to stay calm through that situation was pretty surreal now I look back at it.
Among those welcoming her back was her grandfather, Alan Aitchison, who says she showed promise early on, having been introduced to the sport at age 7.
At an early age she started winning races and really got evidence she was going to win, and very determined girl.
Despite winning 2 years in a row, the plucky rider from Palmerston has no plans of slowing down when the championships come round next year.
I'm going to chill out for a few weeks, catch up with my friends and family, do things that I enjoy doing and that I've missed over the last few months with being away, and I guess next year's going to come around soon enough and I'll be back to work and making sure that we can be competitive and go for a 3rd world title.
In Dunedin, the South Today.
Part of a tree fell in Dunedin's main shopping street this afternoon, blocking the busy footpath. The tree outside Urban Crafters fell on the eastern side of George Street just after 3 p.m. Cheryl Wills of Urban Crafters says she heard a big whoosh and then saw part of the tree on the back of a car, which then drove away. She was told another woman had to jump out of the way to avoid being hit by the falling tree. Conditions in the city were fine and not windy at the time of the incident. Fulton Hogan contractors have been called to clear the footpath. November 25th is globally known as White Ribbon Day, after beginning in Canada in 1991. Events are being held during November across New Zealand, but there are few mass public gatherings this year due to COVID-19. White ribbons have been worn and used as a peaceful way to challenge outdated ideas about relationships for nearly 30 years. Coordinator at the Dunedin Collaboration Against Family Violence, Michaela Corcoran, says White Ribbon Day is important for many reasons.
Days like White Ribbon Day are a good port to really promote those conversations, like decorating fences. People are like, what are those about?
Corcoran says services at Stopping Violence Dunedin have been busier following the effects of COVID-19, which has also limited White Ribbon events this year.
And this year it meant that we decided to do a more low-key event and do a conversation starter as opposed to a wide event where we risk, COVID outbreak or, and making sure we have hand sanitizer on site and things like that.
Ribbons and balloons on the fence of Dunedin's first church today, adjacent to Presbyterian Support Otago. Presbyterian Support's Joe Rowe says people are often afraid to speak up. Admitting the first step can be the toughest, but she says it's an important one to make.
It's making that first point of contact so that you can get the help that you actually need. It's not okay to be in a violent situation, whether that's emotional, physical or psychological. It's not okay, and we're all here to help.
New Zealand is amongst the most violent nations per capita around the world, with recent figures showing there were more than 133,000 family harm investigations by New Zealand police in 2018. Rowe agrees White Ribbon Day encourages conversation around difficult issues, which have been kept behind closed doors.
Yeah, I believe it's about speaking out, it's about being aware, caring for people, supporting your neighbours, which we don't necessarily do very well in today's society. So we need to look after each other and know what's happening for each other, keep close to our friends and support people to actually speak out when they do experience violence.
This year's White Ribbon campaign is asking people to challenge outdated relationship ideas, turning phrases like "show them who's the boss" and "kids should be silent" on their heads with slogans which encourage healthy masculinity. In Dunedin, the South Today. And still to come on the South Today, Otago Museum staff say 6 more footprints cut from a southern riverbed are drying well, and a Central Otago businessman is hopeful public pressure can help him get an idea on track. See you after the break.
risk of developing melanoma skin cancer. You owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole Map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Hi, Alec Campbell Menswear. We're back in George Street on the corner of Hanover Street. Come and check out our big store. It's a big space full of bargains. Now look at these shirts. There's shirts for everybody here. Look at these merino pullovers, stacks of moleskins, literally tons of trousers. And check out these big racks of sports jackets. Beautiful.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
So come and check out Alec Campbell Menswear. We're back on George Street in the old ANZ building.
Every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
You've seen us in the street, now find us online. Check out shopon.org.nz. We have all sorts of treasures, from retro and vintage clothing to antiques, homewares and accessories. New items added every week. We're open 24/7.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
No mai anō, welcome back. More cycling tracks and mountain biking trails are likely in Otago. The Department of Conservation is reviewing a strategy to allow new cycle tracks and trails to be considered in the region. DOC has an extensive list of possible sites in conservation areas and recreational reserves. Dunedin's Deputy Mayor Christine Geary says the council will support development of cycle tracks in appropriate places. Councillors are broadly supportive of providing more options for cycling. 6 more footprints cut out of an Otago riverbed last year are drying out nicely, according to staff at Otago Museum. The footprints are thought to be millions of years old and are already on public display.
These moa footprints, found underwater on the bed of the Kyburn River last year, have been cut out of the rock and are now undergoing a careful drying process while on public display at the Otago Museum.
We're very excited that while they've been on display to the public here at the Otago Museum, they've also kind of been quite happily drying out, and it's worked really successfully.
They're the only moa footprints ever found in the South Island and are thought to date back several million years. The process of drying them out has been done very slowly, with them undercover most of the time to maintain a steady level of humidity.
We've got to the point now where we're pretty happy that they're almost 100% as dry as they're going to get, but we're basically taking off the covers to give them another month or so of just 100% free air movement drying out.
Otago Museum Conservation Manager Nissa Mildwaters says the drying so far has not resulted in any crumbling or significant cracks.
One of them, number 3, did show up an internal fissure when we CT scanned it, and that's only come across as a hairline crack, which is fantastic in the circumstances.
The museum is still working out the best way to set up a permanent display of the unique find. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Upper Clutha businessman Rick Deaton is not giving up on plans for a new tourist venture on the shores of Lake Wanaka. Despite his application to run an e-bike rental business on the lakefront being turned down by a council planner. Deaton hopes public pressure might help get his business up and running, or at least peddling.
An Upper Clutha business owner is taking on the Queenstown Lake District Council over thwarted plans for a new tourist venture. Businessman Rick Deaton wants to rent out 80 Swiss-made e-bikes to tourists from a spot on the Wanaka lakefront, but his attempt at obtaining a lakefront reserve commercial licence from the council was unsuccessful.
So we did what we were bid to do. We applied for it, having been told to by the Wanaka Community Board, and we got 3 over the phone to our planner, not even a letter of reply, rejections of our offer without a reason given. No, it's rejected.
Deaton says he understands the lakefront can't be swamped with businesses and commercial activity, and he has no arguments with the decision earlier this year to grant another business a permit to operate on the lakefront, but he says he can't understand why he's been declined with no reason given.
We find the council impossible to engage with. We've tried diligently. We wanted to engage. We wanted to cooperate. Can't be done. So now we're going to our community. We're asking our community its thoughts on this proposal.
The failed attempt to establish the business, which included leasing and renovating a Wanaka building, has cost him about $55,000. He has now started a petition to pressure the council into providing a permit. His plan to rent e-bikes to tourists also included having spare batteries available at points around the Upper Clutha's cycle trail.
We're proposing 3 different strategically located battery swap positions. One here at the lakefront, one out at Landscape Farm, which is a beautiful riding distance, and one in between at Albertown. So that covers the whole Upper Clutha cycle trail system with readily available battery swaps.
In a statement, Council Planner Aaron Burt says the area was already at capacity and the bar is very high for a successful commercial permit. Burt says the council receives many proposals for the area, and if all were successful, it would cease to be a place for public recreation. In Wanaka, the South Today.
And after the break on the South Today, we have a look at this year's collections from Otago Polytechnic's fashion students, and we have a look at your weather. See you soon.
Every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Step into Shop on Carroll and discover a shop full of treasures. We have a fantastic range of vintage and retro clothes, upmarket clothing labels, collectible items, beautiful jewellery, quality linen and the best range of vintage haberdashery.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole Map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Hi, Al Campbell Menswear. We're back in George Street on the corner of Hanover Street. Come and check out our big store. It's a big space full of bargains. Now look at these shirts. There's shirts for everybody here. Look at these merino pullovers, stacks of moleskins, literally tons of trousers. Check out these big racks of sports jackets. Beautiful.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
So come and check out Alex Campbell Menswear. We're back on George Street in the old ANZ building.
TV, our favourite babysitter, but it can be tough keeping up with what our tamariki are watching. Luckily, the Broadcasting Standards Authority has made some smart changes to the classification labels. Ooh! Plus changes to the time of day certain rated shows will air, and awesome new parental lock features, meaning your babysitter's job is safe. Find out more at safeviewing.co.nz.
Inside are all sorts of innovations from all over China.
Thanks for staying with us. Fashion students at Otago Polytechnic have shown their end-of-year collections. The organisation's Head of College for Art, Design and Architecture says this year's crop of students have achieved greatness in the face of adversity. Otago Museum's atrium was transformed into catwalk as Otago Polytechnic's School of Fashion students showed off their 2020 collections. Federico Freschi is full of praise for this year's students, saying they've coped with many challenges.
It is an understatement, I think, to say that 2020 has been an extraordinary year. Given the global consequences and the very far-reaching effects of COVID-19.
The customary wide range of styles and looks are on offer, from this Mary Quant 1960s inspired collection to this more futuristic work. The effects of COVID-19 have circled the globe, putting pressure on every sector of society. Freschi says his students have risen to the occasion for a year set to take its place in history.
It's clear that 2020 is going to be one of those turning points in history. It's one of those years that we're going to remember, like 1914 or 1945 or 1989. Those sort of years that are really turning points, defining moments in the history of the world.
During his address, Federico Freschi said the students' dedication to not only achieving, but achieving a high standard of work is a reminder what can be gained by committing to hard work under pressure.
They remind us of the power of creativity, of collaboration, of critical thinking, of imagination, all those things that now more than ever we'll need in order to really understand what we're going to be doing in a world that has fundamentally and irrevocably changed.
Collections 2020 celebrates the year's work from students at Otago Polytechnic, from where many go on to shaping fashion careers. In Dunedin, the South Today. Collections 2020 was filmed by Allied Productions and is due to be screened on Channel 39, 7 p.m. on December the 12th. And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South Today. A Portobello family who lost everything in a house fire are thankful to their community for some sizable donations. 2 times World Motocross champion Courtney Duncan received a hero's welcome as she returned to the South last night. And today is White Ribbon Day, but events are scaled down this year due to COVID-19, which has also increased demand for some services. Time now for a look at what's happening in tomorrow's Otago Daily Times. We welcome Hayden Meikle. G'day.
Good evening, Darryl. How are you?
Good. You?
Good. Excellent. Lots of news today. In fact, so much news we had a very robust discussion in the afternoon meeting about what to put on page 1. So here we go. The great announcement today, obviously, of the Jardine family's generosity up in Queenstown. The owners of Remarkable Station for nearly 100 years are gifting, I think, some 900 hectares of land. Goodness knows what that would be worth. Gifting to a QE2 covenant to be protected in perpetuity, basically, for the public's for use and protecting that land. It's an extraordinary act of generosity. We've got a a nice fresh chat to them about why they're doing it. I think it's going to happen in a couple of years' time to coincide with the 100-year anniversary. Lovely photo showing that land, that sort of spectacular land up there between the Remarkables and Lake Wakatipu. So that's great. That's really exciting news. And big news also, I mean, Aurora, this whole deal with the Aurora and the Commerce Commission and lines charges drags on. Today the interesting development is that the Commerce Commission agreeing that it can actually order Aurora to charge Central Otago people less for their power costs, and that would of course mean Dunedin people getting charged more. So it's an ongoing issue. I'm looking forward to that being explained in a bit more detail tomorrow. As you've mentioned, White Ribbon Day, and good to see two fellows here, Daryl, you and I both wearing the white ribbon, and especially important obviously that men stand up on a day like today and say that violence against women is not good enough. We've had a chat to a social worker today, and really interesting, you know, she's just one case of many, a woman who works on her own, 25 cases of family violence a week. And you think about the demand that places on a social worker to deal with that. It's a huge issue in our society, something we must really keep shining our light on. And White Ribbon Day is great. We shine a light on it today, but it's probably something we need to be really focusing on throughout the year.
Most definitely.
Bit of a court story. Court stories, of course, always interesting with Rob Kidd at the helm. A couple of young blokes, 3 young blokes, I think, sentenced for trashing the Dominican Priory. I think it was during lockdown. And we've got photos of some of the damage they did. I mean, they really rampaged through there over 2 or 3 hours, slashing all sorts of lovely paint artwork and stuff. So that'll be a well-read story. And a bit of sport and racing. The Cromwell races are tomorrow, so we've got a wee preview there. And Byron Wells, part of the royal family of free skiing, has announced he's hanging up his skis. So a bit of a chat to Byron, looking back on a heck of a career.
All that and more in the paper.
Thanks, Daryl.
Thanks, Baden. Time now for a look at the weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Beginning with the southern view, a sleepy but large piece of graffiti in Dunedin's wharf area. Looking at the situation, a cold front moves closer to southern New Zealand tomorrow, but a mild northwesterly hangs in place until then. Starting off at the northwest of the South Island, clear skies and a gorgeous day in Westport with 20 degrees. Grouse is due to be similar, except for a cloud or 2. To the northeast, have your umbrella ready in Nelson and Blenheim, as you expect scattered showers. Nelson is due for 22 and 20 in Blenheim. In Canterbury, you can expect cloudy skies with showers and 17 degrees in Kaikoura, a few showers, clouds and 18 in Christchurch, and grey skies in Ashburton, and your high should be 21 degrees. In the southern towns, moderate northwesterlies and cloud increasing for all down here, 21 degrees in the Catalans and Gore, while Balclutha and Lumsden should be 1 better on 22. The Central Lakes, light winds and high cloud over here, 21 for Wanaka and Alexandra and Queenstown, and on 22, 16 in Te Anau. Moderate northeasterlies and high cloud with 21 degrees on the coast in Timaru, similar in Oamaru, where you're due to be on 19, light winds and clear skies in Twizel and Omarama, you're both due for 23 degrees. In Dunedin, fine tonight with northeasterly winds, an overnight low of 11, sunny tomorrow but cloud increases, 18 and 12, cloudy on Friday with northerlies, it'll be dry at first, high of 18, low of 8. And at Invercargill, fine with light winds tonight, overnight low of 8, mostly fine tomorrow, predicted high of 20 and a low of 11, mostly cloudy and showers with cold winds on Friday, your high should be 13 and a low of 7. That's all from the South Today team for this Wednesday. For the latest news from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz and follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube. Have a great evening. Ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.